In the early 1970s, America stood at a crossroads, divided by war, civil unrest, and a growing sense of mistrust in government. But nothing would fracture that trust more than what happened inside a hotel office complex in Washington, D.C. This is the story of Watergate, the scandal that brought down a president and changed the course of American politics forever. June 17th, 1972. It began like any other night at the Watergate complex, a luxury building housing the Democratic National Committee headquarters. But at 2:30 a.m., a security guard noticed something strange. Tape placed over a door latch, preventing it from locking. He called the police. Moments later, 5 men were caught red-handed inside the DNC office, wearing suits, gloves, and carrying cameras, wiretapping equipment, and stacks of cash. What seemed like a minor burglary would soon unravel into one of the greatest political conspiracies in modern history. At first, President Richard Nixon's administration denied any involvement. The men arrested were called rogue operators, not connected to the White House. But investigative journalists at the Washington Post, Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, refused to believe it was that simple. Their relentless reporting uncovered a vast web of corruption, political espionage, and cover-ups, all tracing back to the committee to re-elect the president, known infamously as CREEP. And at the center of it all was the White House itself. As the press dug deeper, they received help from a mysterious informant, codenamed Deep Throat. Meeting secretly in dark parking garages, he whispered clues that connected the break-in directly to Nixon's inner circle. His words became legendary. Follow the money. The more the journalists followed the trail, the clearer it became. Funds were being laundered, hush money was being paid, and orders were coming from the very top. By 1973, the scandal could no longer be hidden. Televised Senate hearings gripped the nation. Millions watched as aides, officials, and advisers testified under oath. One name kept reappearing, Richard Nixon. And then came the revelation that would change everything. There were tapes. Secret recordings of conversations in the Oval Office made by Nixon himself. When the existence of the tapes became public, Nixon refused to hand them over, citing executive privilege. The battle reached the Supreme Court in a landmark decision, United States versus Nixon, 1974. The court ruled unanimously, even the president was not above the law. When the tapes were finally released, one recording revealed Nixon instructing aides to obstruct the FBI investigation. That moment became known as the smoking gun. Facing almost certain impeachment, Richard Nixon addressed the nation on August 8, 1974. "I have never been a quitter," he said, "but as president, I must put the interests of America first." The next morning, Nixon became the first U.S. president in history to resign from office. As he boarded the helicopter and gave his famous wave, the weight of history followed him into the sky. In the wake of Watergate, dozens of officials were convicted, including Nixon's closest aides. Congress passed new laws to strengthen transparency and limit presidential power. But the damage was done. Americans' faith in their leaders had been shaken to its core. For many, the word Watergate became synonymous with corruption, deception, and the loss of innocence in American democracy. Watergate wasn't just about a break-in, it was about power. And what happens when it goes unchecked? It reminded the world that even the most powerful must answer to the truth. And though the tapes have long stopped rolling, their echo still lingers, a warning whispered through history. No one is above the law. Those who forget the lessons of history are doomed to repeat them. George Santayana.